The volcanic winds howled across the fractured plains of Dracarion, scattering ash like black snow. For centuries, the galaxy had whispered fearful tales about the Dragon Empress, an ancient, cosmic worm whose power could crack moons and whose roar could silence fleets. Civilizations bowed, armies knelt, and the stars themselves dimmed when she spread her wings. But on this quiet night, she trembled. Not from rage, not from power, from fear. And the only person standing before her was Tiago, a single father from Earth, a man who had once fixed satellites for a living, and now simply tried to protect his young daughter, Emma, who clung gently to his hand. Tiago didn't carry a weapon. He didn't wear armor. He didn't represent any empire. To the galaxy, this made him terrifying. To the Empress, it made him unpredictable. The rupture in the sky flickered, the cosmic winds settling as her titanic form shrank and reshaped. Bones twisted, scales melted into soft skin, and wings folded into nothingness. Within moments, the terrible Dragon Empress stood as a woman, glowing silver eyes, trembling lips, and long hair flowing like molten starlight. Her power still radiated like a storm, barely contained. She stepped toward Tiago, voice cracking. "May I snuggle under your blanket?" Tiago froze. Emma blinked, looked up at her father, then at the Empress, then at the patched, slightly burnt camping blanket her father always carried. "Daddy, she looks cold." Cold. He almost laughed, nervously, hysterically, because just hours ago this same Empress had accidentally melted an entire mountain by sneezing. Tiago cleared his throat. Why?" The Empress swallowed hard. I have never experienced warmth that wasn't made from my own fire. The galaxy fears me. Even my own kind fled centuries ago. But your daughter—" She looked at Emma with something like wonder. "She touched my snout earlier, without screaming." Emma nodded proudly. "You were soft." Tiago's brain rebooted. The most feared being in the Orion sector. Wanted to snuggle? He took a slow breath. "You tried to incinerate us 3 times. "That was instinct," she squeaked, mortified. "I panic easily." "Evidently," Tiago muttered. Emma tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, she's lonely." The Dragon Empress flinched as if stabbed. Lonely was too small a word for cosmic isolation. For a moment, Tiago saw not a weapon, not a goddess, but someone exhausted from being feared for 1,000 years. He sighed. "All right, but if you burn my blanket, you owe me a new one." Her eyes sparkled like newborn stars. "I will forge you a blanket made of nebula silk and phoenix feathers." "Right. Let's start with not setting my kid on fire." Tiago sat beside the dying campfire. Emma nestled into his left side. The Empress stared at the small, cozy space beside his right, as if it were a forbidden treasure. "Go on," he said. She moved with the caution of a creature who could shatter continents but feared crushing a leaf. Gently, almost reverently, she slipped under the blanket. Her body radiated a soft, shimmering warmth like sleeping beside a living constellation. Emma giggled. "You're sparkly." The Empress blushed, a soft lavender glow spreading across her cheeks. "I cannot always control the luminescence of my scales when I am happy." Tiago tried not to let his jaw drop. This was the same entity that had single-handedly ended the Lunar War. The 3 of them lay beneath the blanket. The winds softened. The sky calmed. For the first time in her existence, the Dragon Empress felt something she had only ever observed from faraway worlds. Comfort. After a long silence, she spoke, so quietly that even the stars seemed to lean closer. "When I first saw you, human, I expected terror, but you protected your child from me. You stood firm. You didn't beg. You didn't kneel. Tiago shrugged. Parent instinct. Such instinct humbles me, she whispered. Empires crumble before me, armies flee, yet you. She looked at Emma, asleep now against Tiago's shoulder. You only feared for her safety. For the Empress, fear was currency, power, rule. But this human feared only losing his daughter. She envied that simplicity. She admired that courage. Why did you come here? Tiago asked quietly. The Empress hesitated. Then, with a shaky breath, because I heard a human child laughing on this world, and I had never heard laughter without terror behind it. Tiago's expression softened. The Empress continued, voice cracking again. I wanted to understand. I wanted to know how something so small could be unafraid of everything. She's unafraid, Tiago said, because she's never faced anything she had to fear yet. The Empress looked down at the sleeping girl. I could protect her. Can you protect her from you? A painful silence followed. Then slowly the Empress nodded. If I stay, no flame of mine, no roar, no power of my kind will ever harm her. On my soul. Tiago studied her face, the vulnerability, the honesty, the hope. Finally, he pulled the blanket a little farther over her shoulders. Then for tonight, he said softly, you're welcome to stay. The Empress's eyes shimmered with tears of molten gold. Thank you. Tiago. For the first time in centuries, she slept, truly slept, not on a throne of bones or a mountain of gold, but under a simple earth blanket beside a human father and his fearless child. Dawn came. The wind stilled, and across the galaxy, the ancient powers trembled when a new rumor spread. The Dragon Empress has bonded with humans, not through conquest, not through fear, but through warmth, a child's laughter, and a borrowed blanket. And for the first time in the universe's long memory, the galaxy learned something new. Humanity was not dangerous because of their weapons, but because of their hearts, because they tamed monsters not with force, but with kindness, even the greatest dragon.